621 registered parties. Okay. Sanbonan Yila. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm not even gonna be like, hi. That's not a pleasure. We are voting in March. Pleasure is gone, guess Anna, but tired of the way he treats me. I get it. Today I said we're going to be speaking about the state of the South African democracy. I'm the bridge between this complicated English and then simplifying it for everyone who, just doesn't have access to that type of English or who doesn't want to think. Honestly, sometimes English is a very arduous task. Let's be honest. I'm speaking as someone who has to speak English 24/7. So firstly, South Africa is a constitutional democracy. It is also a democratic republic, right? So a republic in and of itself is a state in which the people vote for their elected representative, right? So it's not like a monarchy where someone's just like us, God said that I must be your king, and everyone who succeeds me, everyone who is my child, needs to inherit this royal blood and this royal leadership, right? By definition, denotatively, a republic is a state in which supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives, and which has an elected or nominated president rather than a monarch, right? And then let's define democracy, because I think maybe people don't understand democracy. We just know that democracy means that we need to vote for people. A democracy is a system of government in which state power is vested in the people or the general population of a state. And according to the United Nations, a democracy is a state in which the freely expressed will of people is exercised. Do we see that in South Africa? I'm actually kind of shocked by these definitions, because even though South Africa is a democracy and we do elect our representatives, I remember in the 2021 municipal or district elections, only 40% of the people showed up to the polls, if I'm not mistaken. And if a democracy is supposed to be a space where we as the majority are electing our officials and the majority isn't even showing up, then that already leads to the failure of the system that is supposed to represent all of us. And I think part of the difficulty within being South African is the diversity. I know diversity is one of our biggest assets, but being that we come from different reference points in terms of what we want as a country, I don't think that anyone could be a majority representative unless there's someone who magically knows how to appeal to poor black people, to rich white people, and to everyone else in between, right? So let's just read the preamble of the South African Constitution so that everyone can understand what law governs the country, right? Just so that we can understand how we act, why we act.
Look, the way you act. It's the way you act.
So, we, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past, honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land, respect those who have worked to build and develop our country, and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity, not just when the Boka are playing, also when we are addressing the manipulation of the currency, but that's neither here nor there. We therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this constitution as the supreme law of the republic, so as to, number one, heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights. Number two, lay the foundations for a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people, and every citizen is equally protected by the law. Political rights. Every citizen is free to make political choices, which includes the right to form a political party, to participate in the activities of or recruit members for a political party, and to campaign for a political party or cause. Every citizen has the right to free, fair, and regular elections for any legislative body established in terms of the Constitution. Every adult citizen has the right to vote in elections for any legislative body established in the Constitution, and to do so in secret.
What's he look like? He's black.
And to stand for public office, and if elected, to hold office. But I did want to read about the structures and the functions of the South African government. And I got this from the South African government's page. One thing about the South African government, I can read from their pages because I know that they're not going to hide anything, right? Okay, apart from their own corruption, but when it comes to the way that South Africa is ruled, we're very, very transparent about that. And it's very important to be transparent about that because people come to study law and governance in South Africa because of how good we've been able to manage that on paper. And so let me just quickly drink my tea.
Very delicious. Hold on.
So now I want to talk about the structures and the functions of South African governance. So we have 3 tiers of government and 3 branches of government. So the 3 tiers are the national, provincial, and local. So national would be the South African government, and then provincial would be the Gauteng people, and then the local would be Johannesburg or Ekurhuleni or something, right? And then when we are speaking about the 3 branches of government, we have the legislative, the judicial, and the executive. So the legislative would be parliament. Parliament has about 350 to 400 members. This is where we see the ANC, the EFF, the DA, the IFP, and other parties represented, and they're just screaming on top of each other instead of actually doing something about, the treason and the necropolitical wars that are being waged against people in the country. But anywho, I'm reading this on my iPad, by the way. And then the judiciary would be the Constitutional Court, the Supreme Court of Appeals, the High Court, and the Magistrate Courts. The Constitutional Court is the highest court of the land because the South African Constitution is the most supreme and the highest law of the land that we all have to abide by. By the way, whether you're rich, whether you're black, whether you're poor, whether you're white, whatever you are, whether you're colored, Lindia, it applies to you, Gasana, but that's in theory. So there's many state institutions and spaces that support the South African democracy and that ensure that all South Africans have the rights or have our enshrined rights protected. So we have the public protector. So when we had a public protector like Thuli Madonsela and whoever the public protector is now,
I hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is.
Because she hasn't been particularly impactful. Hey, baby, I love these people so much. They don't know me, but the amount of times I said, I'm going to call the South African Human Rights Commission because you know that what you're doing is wrong. And then we also have the Commission for the Promotion and Protection of the Rights of Cultural, Religious, and Linguistic Communities. So there's also the Commission for Gender Equality, the Auditor General of South Africa, Independent Communications Authority of South Africa, and the people that we will be relying on next year, the Electoral Commission of South Africa, which is the IEC. Someone told me that the IEC is corrupt. Oof. Guys, they are the people that they are the people who are supposed to be protecting the democracy. The democracy is in their hands, honestly. But when I'm speaking to my friends from other African nations and they're talking about corruption in elections, they don't look happy when they're talking about corruption in elections. So we want to be happy. Asibe happy. Asibe munya. How many political parties does South Africa have? We have 621 recognized political parties. Are we? I'm not going to get through all 621. Libalang. And let me tell you, some of the main parties, I was looking for their manifestos. Dololo. You say you have a plan for the next 5 years. You don't even have a plan for the elections in 3 months. You haven't even released your manifesto.